So, welcome to Learning Lab Live, Build Harder, Not Smarter, AI Magic and MicroBuilder. So, we'll be getting into that in just a second, but just by way of introduction, my name is Joshua Bledgy. I'm a Learning Solutions Engineer for ELB Learning. And really, that means that my job on a day-to-day basis is to show people how cool our tools are, and kind of focus on our technology solutions and how they meet business challenges and needs that you might have. So today with Learning Lab Live, the whole goal here is to kind of help give you some product education, a little bit of tips and tricks, and hopefully have a little bit of fun along the way by being, a bit more engaged here. Um, just some housekeeping things before we get started. I'm into the meat of the webinar. This is being recorded, so just note that right from the beginning. If you need closed captions, those are available. You can enable those there down in the bottom. If you have questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A panel and we'll do our best to get to them throughout the webinar. If we don't, we'll make sure to send you responses afterwards with the follow-up. And live chat is also available, as most of you have found. And just be sure to set that to everyone, as we've been saying here, because I will have you participate somewhat in the chat. So feel free to find that now and be ready to do that. And just so that you note as well, the recording will go out to everyone. And there will be a blog following this up here in the next little bit, and probably another one throughout the month as well, if you noticed that from last month's Learning Lab Live. So now we're going to have some audience participation here to kind of get us started, get everybody thinking. First question, just kind of very quickly here. Do you currently use MicroBuilder? Yes, nope, or not currently, but maybe someday are your three choices there. We'll give that a little bit to answer. Casey's in the background here helping me with those poll questions here. And so feel free to answer that. And in a quick minute here, we will go ahead and show those responses. So, okay, here we go. And responses are a lot of nopes and not currently, but maybe some days. Okay. Got a few people that are currently using it. Okay, fantastic. So hopefully this will have a little something for everybody for you to see on the tool here. So let's go to our next question. And first off, I just want to ask you, what are your feelings towards generative AI in training creation? Um, and so you can pick whichever one fits best there for you. Um, Note these were written by my friend Claude. Um, and um, so that's why they might sound a little different here. So go ahead and pick whichever one fits the best here. We might need to give you a little bit longer to read through those, but just kind of gauging where you guys are at with generative AI in your training here. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, so top result was my new best friend who occasionally lies. That's probably where I would sit too. A few people said great at writing, but terrible at facts. We got a few people that are it's like autocorrect with delusional grandeur. I actually really love that answer too. Um, some people were actually a pretty good portion of everybody was like finally a writing partner that's caffeinated as I am. And we got one person that's a hard pass. And I can completely respect that position as well. I think there is uh, certain instances where AI can be, helpful, but sometimes where it's not, depending on what you're trying to create there. But okay, my next answer to you, or my next question, not answer. How do you feel about collaborating with other humans? Because this will be a part of this webinar if you remember the description. So feel free to give an answer here as well. So like if what's your tendency leaning towards? Do you love working with other people? Do you have a hard time? I was that kid in high school. I will say that anytime there was a group project, somehow I ended up doing all of it by myself. That actually perpetuated into college at one point too. I had a paper I wrote with a group of people and ended up doing a lot of the work there myself. But how else do you guys feel about it? Like definitely had some positive experiences with it too, with collaborating with other people, particularly here at ALB, honestly. We've had some really great collaboration with our teams here. So in just a quick second here, we'll see the results. And oh, we got a pretty even split. I'm a team player who works best alone, and uh, two heads are better than one confused head. Okay, so some people love it. Some people are like, no, I'm good by myself. Uh, great until someone suggests brainstorming. Yeah. Love it. Misery loves company. Fantastic. Like, so we got a pretty even split there across those. That's really cool. So those are our first three questions, and now I want to tell you a little bit of a story here. So obviously, the reason why I asked those is because the two things that we're going to focus on today are the AI within MicroBuilder, how those features work to build modules in your content. Then we're also going to preview something for you that's coming out later well, actually, today's the 30th of September. So next month in October, um, we're going to have a release in MicroBuilder that's going to let you collaborate and work with humans a bit more. And so that's where we're going to be going with this. But just kind of talking about AI here quick for a second. I know we all have like various different degrees on which we've used it, different things we've used it for. Some of us are able to use it in our daily work. Some of us are not in, due to our company's regulations and things like that. And I totally get that there's different perspectives here, but just to kind of let you know where I'm coming from here. So I see AI as a tool to help us make us more productive, not necessarily to replace what we do as human beings. The and I think that's kind of a shift that we are seeing somewhat now because I think people are realizing a little bit more that they can't completely replace their workforce with robots as much as they would like to. Um, because it is, a little bit more affordable, things of that nature. But they really just need to see it as a tool to help us accomplish things. And one of the ways that I've been doing this personally in my own life is one of my hobbies is actually playing board games. I love playing games. Um, and I decided that maybe I would want to like go beyond that and start designing my own board game. But as someone that has a hard time setting big, lofty goals and actually achieving them, um, at occasions. It was something I'm like, well, I can't really do this on my own, but I don't really know anybody else that'd be interested in doing this. So that's where as I mentioned, my friend Claude earlier, I went and asked for his help or their help, however, I don't really know, and said, okay, I want to design this board game. Can you help me with it? And initially, the first couple of drafts of that went really well. And they helped me get to a phase where I could actually play test something and then make some comments, and we are able to go through things. But as things got more and more complex, I noticed I had to start breaking things down a bit more into smaller chunks and then had to kind of distill and kind of reassemble things later on because started using not consistent language for different effects of different things within the game, all sorts of different and different challenges there. So, um, as much as I would like to have like AI do all the creative thinking in the world for me, it just can't. It's just not going to. And there's always going to be human involvement here. So that's one of like the key tenets that I want to keep us going because like this game that I'm working on, it's definitely going to be a lot of me going in there and parsing together the ideas that AI presents to me, but not necessarily taking that work and passing it off as my own per se, and using that as just kind of a starting point. And that's really where you'll see here within MicroBuilder. That's really what our paradigm kind of sets up there too. So now let's go ahead and build something. And so some people might refer to this as a course. Some people might refer to this as a module, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're building today. This is going to be a learning exercise. And this is where I'm going to need your help a bit here. So just like last month, I'm going to ask you to choose your own adventure. And in this case, I'm going to ask you to put in a topic that you'd like to build and for what audience. I'm actually going to ask you to put that in the chat. We didn't set up a poll for this one. And the only thing I'm going to say here is uh, don't be boring. Put in a great and don't take this too serious. We can do something kind of funny here. So feel free to do that. Uh, project management for those who hate organization. That is a pretty good one. Any other thoughts? Football 101. Okay. Let's see if we can get a couple more thoughts here. Executive presence programming for graduate school students. I'll be honest, Eileen, I have no idea what that is. Uh, ESG for hard department. How to become a stand-up comic and make real money. Oh, that's a good one. Um, and let's see, any fun scavenger hunt for orientation. Okay. So I'm kind of thinking I like, let's see what else we got. Travel tips and tricks. Employee orientation. Okay. Storytelling for influence. Okay. Let me see here. I kind of think I like the stand-up comic one. That's what we'll go with. But what's an audience for that should be for? So, like, any idea, like, should we do, for eighth graders? Should we do for, people uh, at a certain level of career? Like, so, any thoughts on that? So, like, how to be a stand-up comic for college students for a side hustle? Okay. Senior citizens. There we go. Let's go ahead and how to make my cat like me. Cats well, they are hard to manage. Oh, or that's a good one. Let me go ahead and say, let's do senior citizens, like how to become. So we're just going to say, build me a micro learning module. Now you can really phrase this however you want about how to become a stand comic. Your your audience gear this toward. Oh, let's say gear this towards senior citizen audience. Okay. So I realize I'm not explaining what I'm doing. So let me go backtrack here really fast. So uh so what we're doing here, so if you saw on this dashboard here within MicroBuilder, I selected, create a new module. And when we do that, we're presented with this dialog box to say, okay, let's, do we want to provide some detail on this microlearning? Like, what do we want to have built here with the AI? You notice there is this option to add sources as well. So you can have like text files or PowerPoints or documents, PDFs, whatever you want to help inform and guide the AI as we're doing this. Obviously, since I'm asking for this topic, kind of off the top here, I don't know what that is, so I didn't have any resources to upload here. But that is an option for you there. And everything does stay, secure as well, so you don't have to worry about your data leaking out there or anything like that. But what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and create the outline for this course. Now, I will note that you can completely skip AI within MicroBuilder. It's not a requirement to use it. And so we'll go ahead and let this kind of create the module here for us. But it looks like there was some questions in the Q&A panel, so I will take a look at those while this is doing its magic here, because it is going to take a second. Uh, so the question is, do I need Lectora as a prerequisite for MicroBuilder? No, you don't. So they're two very separate tools. So they're all part of uh, our Learning Creation Studio, but they are very different from each other. So Lectorio is going to be much more for very more complex and robust learning experiences, where MicroBuilder does try to keep things very simple, and I like to say like puts like guardrails on your development, so that way you kind of stick within a particular structure. Can I integrate it within an Articulate 360 Rise course? We've never actually tried that, so I don't know for sure. It is URL based, like you can do a URL, public URL, and I think you can do a web object in Rise, so you should be able to do it there, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So, so let's see what we have here. So everything's been created for us. So our module here is Finding Your Funny, stand-up comedy for seniors. And the description here, exploring the art of stand-up comedy designed specifically for senior audiences in bright in it to bring laughter to both yourselves and others. So So it did take our prompt there and kind of gave us, okay, here's a uh stand how to be a stand-up comic for senior citizens here. You'll notice though, as we like had this created, it does give you this disclaimer at the bottom, kind of going back to what I said earlier, where this was generated with AI. And so you do want to make sure, like, this is just a reminder to everybody to go back and review this here, because as we're here within uh, MicroBuilder now, we can go back and like we can read through all this. We can edit anything that we want to here, just on our own, right? But we do have some AI writing tools that are part of MicroBuilder here, so we can like elaborate or simplify this down. Which for this intro, I think I'm going to go ahead and simplify it here. And so this is similar to like things like I think like Grammarly and stuff does this, where you can go ahead and have it help you kind of structure your writing here a bit and help you create different types of content here. So like if we kind of look through this, look at the headings here real fast, crafting your material, learning from experiences, engaging with your audience. Okay, so let's maybe go into this engaging with your audience one. And what we'll do here is we'll have it write a scenario for us. Um, as in context of this block. So when we go from that drop down, that little star drop down there, you'll notice that when we clicked the analogy, there's a little plus sign next to it. So that's going to add an additional block to this for us. Whereas these couple here at the top are going to rewrite for us. So that's why you see the little rewrite and replace. So that's why we see this little kind of refresh icon there, right? And so you notice that it wrote an analogy for us down, or analogy or scenario. I can't remember which one I clicked now. But imagine you're a senior citizen you're at a senior community center preparing for a stand-up comedy night. You notice the audience comprises mostly of retired teachers and former military personnel. Realizing this, you decide to include jokes about classroom antics and military life, drawing on your own experience in those areas. As your performance begins, you focus on maintaining eye contact with the crowd, paying attention to their reactions. Certain jokes about school days draw hearty laughter, while others about modern technology receive more of a muted response. Seeing this, you decide to emphasize more of your teaching. So this is going to be a little scenario for us. So what's going on here? So this isn't necessarily creating like a branching scenario or anything like that. Currently, this is just going to be writing out the text of this scenario for us to kind of work with here. And the same thing happens with, the analogy writing as well. So like if we come in here and say maybe we want an analogy for using humor as a tool for connection, we can come in here and have that added for us there. And again, what's going on here is it's taking the context of that block that we click the drop down on and then adding that below for us. And this can be really helpful to get us something to start with. Again, we're probably going to want to go back and edit this, as the humans involved in the creation of this, go back in there. But for me, like when I'm designing courses or have in the past, coming up with some of this content, like, writing scenarios, writing analogies, can be rather time consuming. And this at least gets you a jump start on it. I think that's really the important bit here. Um, so like in this case with the analogy, it says, think of humor as a bridge connecting two towns that have never met. Each side has its own stories, tradition, and perspective. When a comic steps into a well-timed joke, it's like laying down the planks of this bridge. So it gives you a pretty decent analogy to start from. Now, say that you already have an idea for an analogy or a scenario that you want to use. You can actually add those as additional blocks here yourself, and with either like the analogy block here or the scenario. And really all you're going to do here is going to type in a prompt similarly to how we did in the beginning to then build out this scenario or this analogy for us. And so like you do have both options. So you can kind of guide it if you want, or you can let the AI just kind of completely do the work there for you. So you do have those options. Now, the other thing though that I really love about what we do in MicroBuilder, and I think this is maybe the most useful or most often used bit of the AI here, is the ability to have it write questions for us. So again, from this drop down, I can click, add a question, and it's going to go ahead and insert one for us here that it's created. So again, this is going to be based off that block before it. So like it's timed in there to where they're reading content, then they're reviewing it with a question and checking for understanding here. And any question that you put in MicroBuilder can be included within a quiz here. So like if we go ahead and click on this again, see that there's this option to include in the quiz. Plus you can also customize the feedback here. So it's not just by default correct and incorrect. You can have it give a bit better feedback here, and you can even do that by choice if you want. But we'll just click generate here to add a little bit of additional feedback here for us. And oftentimes it might just be a bit more generic feedback, but I have seen it too where it will take the context of the question and actually give your feedback there. And particularly when you do feedback by choice, it tends to do that as well. So we'll actually turn off customized feedback and just go ahead and generate this with feedback by choice. It's going to be a bit more tailored to the response there, as you can see in those different options there. So, pretty good effect. I personally love using this feedback by choice more than I do the customized feedback, again, just because it's more specific to the answers. But I also think it just, it's just a better experience because you're seeing that, again, that context is just fantastic there. Um, and this is all part of our quiz here, which you'll notice there's like a quiz scoring block down here that's going to tell us if we passed or where our attempts are to, and we can actually set up what that feedback looks like up here as well, and generate that for us, and even change the layout of our questions a little bit to this more minimalistic style here uh, as we look at our module. So the other thing too is right now this is all just text, right? And so that's not necessarily the most effective learning exercise for us. And so maybe we want to add a bit more pizzazz, a bit more engaging stuff in here. So rather than doing fully text, we're going to start adding some videos and some audio in here to help with, kind of gets more of the senses engaged here. Um, so I'll go ahead and just copy this text here in this intro, and I'll come into add block here and then hit our avatar generator. And within this avatar generator, like you've probably seen some of these before, this is built in here to our tools, so that way you can just drop these directly in here. But you do have quite a few. I actually have lost count of how many, because it seems like every time I look at this, there's somebody new that I don't recognize. So I'll find somebody that looks kind of more like a stand-up comic if if I guess I don't want to stereotype anybody here into that, but let me see if there's anybody that kind of seems that might be good there. Um, let's see here. Well, I guess since our audience is for senior citizens, maybe we'll actually pick this older gentleman here um, to kind of go along with that. Now, I can upload a background here to the background of the video if I'd like to, but I don't really have anything right now, so I'll go ahead and pick one from one of the included ones here. And so there are a few different options that you have, um, kind of like that blue block one there. So we'll go ahead and hit the next button here, then type in our script, which in our case, we'll just copy and paste that in there. And then you do get some options to select the voice here. So like we can go ahead and play like the little preview of Adam, and I hope that my here, let me go ahead and share my sound so you can actually hear this. So we'll go ahead and listen to Adam here.
Our distrust is very expensive.
He might be good. Let's see if there's another option though that
There's power in looking silly and not.
let's see if we can find one here. They give me some descriptions here. Maybe we will go ahead and just stick with Adam for now. This module in this case doesn't have to be perfect, but I would probably, maybe work with a couple more voices. You can adjust like the speed at which they speak as well here. And then we'll go ahead and just generate the audio, since I'm kind of happy with where we're at. And um, now we have our audio clip there, and so we can listen back to
Stand-up
this.
comedy is about sharing your unique view.
And so we'll go ahead and say that that's good for us and hit next, and then hit generate the video here. Now this will take a few minutes to generate just because it is creating video. we definitely do see this like getting faster though. But for the right now, we'll kind of just let it do its thing. You can continue on and create the rest of the module um, uh, now too. So that's a video, including that video. Now you do have the option for just doing audio as well. So maybe we'll go ahead and just grab this text right here, and I'll insert a little audio block right here. And so in the case of audio, we can upload this, or we can record audio in here, um, or we can do text to speech, which is what we'll use right now. And go ahead and let that do its thing. Let me select a voice here. We'll kind of keep things consistent, so we will, keep Adam as our narrator here. And you have these advanced settings here that you can choose from. I do turn on use speaker boost. I don't do too much with this unless I feel like after I preview the audio I need to do something. But speaker boost is just there to make it feel more natural and organic. So I'll go ahead and do that here. Now this is a little bit longer than our video, and with the video generating, this might take a little bit of a moment here, but we'll go ahead and let that generate. Um, and let me go see here. So there's a couple of questions in here. Are Latin American Spanish and French Canadian supported? And can you also choose different accents? I use British, Australian, U.S. Southern accent, etc. Um, with the languages supported, I believe you can. I haven't tried to type in a different language myself personally, but I believe it will support other languages because it's going to detect the language, then make the voices available to you in whatever language is available for that, whatever voice is available for it. So I believe that would be an option. And can you choose different accents? So if you look at the different voices in the drop down here, you will see that there are some that will state some different options. Like here, like Charlie is Australian. Um, and so like if you preview his voice
Lovell,
here,
trust a few, do wrong to none.
you can kind of hear his voice there. And so you can kind of look at that. And even some of these that don't have descriptions, like you can go ahead and click on, and you might be able to see some different other options. So it's not too descriptive on some of these, but you should be able to find different ones. I have heard a Southern one and a British voice there as well. So like those would be options for you for sure there. But we'll go ahead and just save this audio here right now. Um, there. Um, Valerie, with your question about the asset library, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email about that one, I'm happy to support after the some assistance there. Um, so video avatar's length for processing determined by the script added because mine never completed processing even overnight. Valerie, it sounds like there might be again some support issues here, so feel free to email me. Uh, Can we do videos without avatars, but with text, images, and animation only? So you can insert whatever videos you'd like, but as far as generating those, it is just going to be those talking head videos right now. So, so we still have that generating for us, but we have our little audio clip
Material
here.
create.
And this will play and pause as you like scroll. It will pause as you scroll it out of the view when you are actually going through the module here. And you'll notice that there is, closed captions there for you too. You can even enable a transcript there too if you'd like, but I personally prefer the option for the closed caption for it, unless it is an audio clip that isn't already there. Because like in this case, I'm just having it read out the text below it because we've had some customers that have said they have some people in their audience that don't want to necessarily read the module. They'd rather just play, listen to the audio there. So there's some different options to add a little bit more to this. Now, MicroBuilder does have some integrations with some of our other products too. So if you want to make things more engaging and you have the Train Arcade, for instance, you can insert games, or Scenario VR, you can insert those virtual reality scenarios. We do also offer an embed block now, which is HTML, where I don't have anything really prepared for this, but you do have the option to, type in HTML directly here within MicroBuilder, or upload your own, or even include a web link to a website. as long as it's a public URL. You can iframe it in here as well. So that can be, add a little more to it. As well, there is the option to include images and things in here as well. So if I come in here and click here, I can add an image and I can go ahead and pick from our library. So I'll just maybe put up, stand up comedy. And you can pick from some of these in here. We'll do one without. I'll go ahead and put this kind of narrow one in there, but you can insert those in there to add a bit more visual interest to this. You do have the ability to change how this looks, because right now it's just black and white right on this theme, but I do have the ability to um, kind of change this out. Um, and in this case, I'm just using one of my themes that I've built before, but I can customize this as well pretty easily to match any sort of branding needs that you might have there. Um, Sorry, I'm seeing a question here in the chat. Is it ELB's own proprietary AI generating the voice for text, or a partnership with a company like Well Said? It is a partnership with another provider. So the videos themselves are coming from Colossian, and the audio is actually coming from 11 Labs. So that's the two that we use for that service there. But the little builder and things, that's our technology there that's built that out. So, and it looks like our video is now done. So we'll go ahead and play this for
Stand-up
us.
comedy is about sharing your unique view and truths with an audience. As a senior, you have a wealth of experiences and stories.
So that seems pretty good. I mean, I probably would maybe try that one again if I was to create this module for real. But in this case, I think it's, we'll just kind of leave it as is here. You'll notice again here, there is the closed captioning available on it
Stand-up
as
comedy is about
well.
sharing your unique.
So you'll have those there for you too. I'll go ahead and write this here. Um, and so the next thing that I'm going to show you here, one of the things that we know is very important for a lot of organizations is the fact that your um, audience doesn't just reside here within the US or in English speaking countries for that matter, or you need to support languages such as, like in Canada, I know you need to support French as well. But you have the ability to translate this rather than having to send this to like a translation service or something like that. You do have the ability to translate this with AI, and there's about, I believe, like around like 75 different languages listed here. And you notice that there's some supported features that are referenced here. So if it's just the text, you'll see that, but most of these will do text and closed captioning on the audio and video. Some of them will even support doing a voiceover here. So for instance, we'll go ahead and just find our French Canadian here. Actually, we'll do the regular French. The reason why I selected this instead of the Canadian French, just so you notice, over here. So the when the voice translates on the video voiceover, this kind of tells you what the options are. So in this case, since I have a male in my video, I'm going to go ahead and just leave that. So that way it will translate and sound correctly when the voiceover is there. So go ahead and click OK with that. And so we'll just do one for now, but you can do multiple languages there. So if you need to add like 3 or 4 or 5, 10, whatever it might be, you can do that. We'll go ahead and translate this now here. Now the video and audio might take a little bit longer to translate, just so that you know that. But as we come up here to the globe dropdown, we'll be able to see the French text stand up. And actually, if you look at the closed captioning, it did do that for us right away there. On that, I believe it will do it here, but this is not, anywhere close to,
Material creation is the back.
not done that yet. But the video there, it looks like it did do the closed captioning for us. But you'll kind of see the different languages there, and you can obviously like switch back to the English to make any edits that you want. Because again, just kind of noting here that like the content does have to originate in English for the AI translation to work currently. And you can't really make edits to that content once it's translated. And if you do make uh, any additions to the module, you have to translate it again. It's not going to just automatically translate things there too. Let me go ahead and close this out real fast, because sometimes that lets us speed up the translation a little bit more there. But yeah, I can happy to play the French voiceover for you. Let's go ahead and switch that to French, and we'll go ahead and play this
Le
here.
stand-up comédie consiste à partager votre point de vue et vos vérités uniques avec un public. En tant que senior, vous avez une multitude d'expériences et d'histoires qui peuvent devenir des trésors comiques.
So it seems pretty good to me. Of course, I don't personally speak French, but seems like a pretty good voice there for us. I'm getting a request to show in Spanish as well. So a voiceover in Spanish there. So let me go ahead and edit this real fast and add that Spanish language in there too. So again, you do have two options here. I'm going to keep it with the Spanish here, just again to keep the consistency with the voice there. So I'll go ahead and translate that now, but I will go ahead and kind of close this out and come back in to, again, hopefully the video will have translated into Spanish there for us too. Sometimes that just forces it there.
La comedia en vivo consiste en compartir tu punto de vista y verdades únicas con la audiencia.
So there's the Spanish voice as well. So again, you can see we have both those languages available to us. So that way the learner can go ahead and select that for themselves. We don't have to determine that. So you don't need to do multiple files in different languages or anything like that. And then when we publish to it, we'll run the translation again, just to be sure that everything, it's caught up to everything that's been done there. So you don't necessarily have to hit that translate now every single time. And then with this module, so with MicroBuilder, there are a couple different ways to distribute your content. You do have the ability to send it out as a SCORM file or XAPI file, as well as save it as a PDF. So if you wanted to download a file, you can here. You'll note though that with SCORM 1.2 in 2004 and XAPI, we do say hosted there. So MicroBuilder does have this functionality where as you update your files here in MicroBuilder, it will update the course in the SCORM package wherever it resides if you use the hosted format there. So it does give you that automatic update, so you don't necessarily have to, have an LMS administrator or somebody upload the file, replace it, worry about version control or something like that. It's always going to be active for you. We do know that a lot of people might be a little concerned with that, like hosting content outside of their own LMS and on a different system. We are going to be addressing that in our next release. We are actually planning, or in a coming release, I should say, maybe potentially not the next one, but you will have the ability to download just a SCORM package for 1.2 or 2004, just a traditional file like you would expect. So that is coming as well here in the next little bit. Just to note that. But you also do have the option, like I mentioned earlier, you can put this out as a link. So if you wanted to share this on like Microsoft Teams or Slack or whatever it might be, or put it as like a QR code, like say you're in a manufacturing plant or something and you want to put like on the job training stuff there, you can do so with this either with a public link or a private password protected link as well. So you have kind of both options there. So you can really distribute it pretty easily to whatever needs you might have there. So there's another request for playing the French voice again. So I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and do that real fast. So that way you can kind of hear him again.
En tant que senior, vous avez une multitude d'expériences et d'histoires qui peuvent devenir des trésors comiques.
So that was kind of a sample of that French voice there. So that's kind of an overview very quickly there in the last half hour or so of the various different like AI components within MicroBuilder. Obviously, again, like you can't emphasize enough the fact that these things are helpful time savers and can help create good content. We just need to be mindful of going back and making tweaks to it, making different decisions as well. So humans will always be involved in content creation, really, and that's something that we need to kind of be sure of as well as we look to do this. Now I'm gonna take a look at the chat or the question and answer just to be sure. So let me see here. So languages supported, there's 75 different ones. How many emotions? How about emotions for the avatars? Mad, surprise, excited, etc. Currently, I don't know that I don't think you can distinguish that, but I believe we have plans to implement that in the future. Um, is there an extra cost for the translation feature? There is a slight cost to it. So as a included with the package, when you purchase MicroBuilder, you do get 1 million characters of translation included. And then if you need to purchase additional, we do sell those for I believe it's in packages of 1 million characters. So you can buy 100, 200, 500, whatever it might be, or five. So 100, 1 million, 2 million, whatever it might be. And feel free to just contact your account rep for that pricing because it could, I don't know. I have an idea what it is off the top of my head, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't want to share anything like that here on this webinar. Um, the validation on the translation where we did our best to validate it with the people that speak certain languages and things. So like the ones where we could find someone in our staff that could speak those languages, we had them kind of vet and see how close it's gotten. Obviously, there's not a lot we can do about it because it's coming through a translation service or a third-party service there, and so we did our best to make sure, but again, it's something that I wouldn't consider it 100% validated. It will be something that you'll want to kind of look over and see how accurate it is for yourselves when you're building content. Is this the view that the participants will see, just the long page? Yes, it pretty much is. Let me go ahead and actually preview this for you. So it is just a long single scrolling page here currently as the content type that the learner would see. And so that's kind of the preview of what that course would look like from a finishing perspective. For pricing questions, 'cause there are a couple of those piping in here, I would just point you to our website to look at our current pricing or contact your ELB account rep for that. Because again, I don't want to misquote anything on here. Um, so with the time that we have left, so I want to show you, so this is like collaborating with an AI, right? You're building content, uh, it's kind of helping you outline stuff. It's building questions for you. It's helping you create these videos and all that. But what about collaborating with other humans? Like that's important too. It seemed like a lot of people preferred that from the chat there. So let me go ahead and pull up something uh, new and exciting. Hopefully, I didn't just close out of it. Where's it coming from? Excuse me one moment. There we go. So what I'm pulling up right now, and you'll see why I have two windows pulled up here in just a second, because I'm going to collaborate with myself here. But um, this is again a little preview for you guys. So because you're here today, um, we wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek behind the curtain here. And so we're going to go ahead and launch MicroBuilder here. It looks like it actually wants my password again. So go ahead and sign in here real fast. So I'm going to go ahead and launch MicroBuilder here, and you might notice something right off the bat looks a little different. Um, so we are redesigning the dashboard here for MicroBuilder. So it's going to be um, a little bit different. So you now have this big blue giant, create module here. And you also do have all your current modules here. So, um, and we're also adding this little tour here. So apologies here. Let me go ahead and skip this for now, but we are adding a little tour there as you're coming into it. But the main feature set that's being released with this is the ability to collaborate with other authors. So if you see here, there's some different options for like my content or shared, content with me. But I'm going to go ahead and create a new module here just real fast. And I think someone said about like, what was that thing about cats earlier? That was a pretty good one. Again, keep in mind, this is a development environment that I'm in. So some things may not work as well here, but let me go ahead and see. There's something about how to make my cat like me. Make my cat like me. So I might say something like build build a short course about a short course about how to make my cat like me there. And I'll go ahead and create that for us real fast. And so this is the same AI that we're using in the current production version of MicroBuilder here within this dev environment here. So we'll see this here in just a second when it's creating. But we're going to have the option here to now collaborate with other people here. So um, what we're going to do is once this is created, rather than kind of going through that process of building out the content like I just did right away, I'm actually going to go ahead and share it with my buddy Bruce over here, who is going to be my collaborator in this particular module here, and that he'll show up here on the right side. And let's see what we get here. So here we go. So we have our little module here. Can I use my own documents for the AI to use? Yes, you can. Yeah, you can always upload your own documents for it as well. Um, so you'll probably notice some differences right away here with some of the UI. We've changed a few things, but I'm going to go ahead and add a collaborator to this. And I'll go ahead and find my teammate here, which we'll go ahead and just see, Bruce, Josh's collaborator. Um, And you also will have the option to, I'll go ahead and the option to edit here. You also do have the ability to just type in an email address here as well and share that with an external party. So say I wanted to, share it with myself, I could do that as well, share it with just an email address. That way you can get comments from people that don't have MicroBuilder licenses. That is part of this as well. But we'll go ahead and just share it with Bruce here, save that. And what will happen, and I'm not going to show you this just because I don't want to pull up my email and show you my inbox, but I will receive an email saying that, hey, this module has been shared with you. You also receive an email notification when there's new activity within the module too. But if I come here and say, okay, I want to just look at what's shared with me, uh, see that I have this how to build a positive relationship with your cat module, which also appears here. So I'll go ahead and um, click on this over here on the left-hand side. Now, this might get a little trippy here in just a second because you'll see that I have two screens pulled up. And if you notice here on the left, you see a cursor that says Bruce. And that's because I'm over here on this side. So it is tracking that cursor as best it can there. You'll see that there is my different collaborators down here at the bottom. And so if I come back over here, you'll see that, Joshua now has this locked. And so what Bruce is seeing over here is that this is locked. He can't go in and edit it. This helps preserve version control, things of that nature there. And so like I can come in here and add a comment and just say, at, Bruce, uh, please fix this. You probably want to be a little more descriptive in your actual comments, but when I'm collaborating with myself, I can just kind of say things like that. And so now Bruce is going to come over here and see the comment. Now, Bruce can't edit this right now. So he might say something like, I'd be happy to if you'd unlock it for me. Me, buddy. And now I'm seeing Bruce's comment over here. Oh, I'm clicked on it, so he can't. I'm selected on it, so he can't do anything. I'll go ahead and move down here, and now Bruce can come in here and make those edits for me. So it's going to give you that ability to look at those comments. Now, Bruce will come in here. He'll, say like, edits or something to that effect, right? And then he'll come back in here to the comment and say, did not hit the comment, hit the scroll bar there. He'll sit, okay, he'll add another reply here and say, at Josh Bledgy, fixed. And I'll get that ping over here. And again, you'll see the comments up here as well. You'll be able to pull up all the comments. And now here, because I'm the owner of this comment, I'll go ahead and close that out. Say we're completely cool there. I can leave a little reply there. but now it's going to show up in my closed, and now Bruce will see it in the closed ones as well. And you can still reply to these here when they're closed, but only the owner can then reopen that if need be there. So you do have that ability to collaborate with each other within the file. Um, and you can have multiple people in here. Like we do have, like my development team has shown me where they've had like 10 or 15 people in a single module, which is pretty impressive. And this kind of just hints at the future of where this is going to, where we really want people to be able to work together pretty seamlessly, not just with AI, but with other human beings as well within the module here. And you'll see some more performance enhancements and other things come out, but I will kind of leave that for another day. But you can see that release, later this, later in October. I forget that. I keep forgetting it's the 30th. So it's next month that this is should be released. I'm not going to give a specific date or anything at this point, but look towards the middle of the month is all I will hint at. Um, and again, you'll see a couple of other major features to this. This is actually a pretty big thing there. So with that being said, we have about 5 minutes left. Any last questions in here? It looks like a lot of people are really liking the collaboration features, so I'm super happy to see that. Um, so let's see, Elise, how do you add spacing between blocks and within blocks? Within blocks, between blocks, there's not really a way currently to do that. That is something that we've had requests for, to be able to put like a little spacer or something in between. So you could see that come in the future release. Currently with like, obviously with text, you can hit an extra return or something like that. The other option that I've seen people do is just like insert an image as well. So if you put like, create like a little line graphic or something of that nature, you can insert that there too, to put that little space there for you, to give you a little bit more room to in between the different blocks, so they don't feel like they're maybe as congested or something there. So there's a couple different options there if you want to go that route. Any other questions that we have in the last couple minutes here? Um, okay. Can you upload um, our logos? Yes, you can. So let me find it real fast here. In the theme here, so if you create a new theme, you can go ahead and add your logo, and it will add it to the top of the module. And you can either have it, on the left or the right or centered. Um, I typically either prefer, right or centered myself, and then you can adjust the size there too, uh, as well. So yeah, so you can add that. You can even add your own company colors there for the fonts and everything. The fonts are kind of limited list here, but colors and stuff you can adjust. Any plans to break up content so that users can click from one section to another rather than one long page? Um, there is nothing I can say officially on that. And I will leave that with that hint there. Um, so right now it is just one long scrolling page. Is that going to be all that it's going to be in the future? Come back in a few months and maybe it will be different. Let's just go with that. There's nothing official I can say on that, but maybe. Eileen, same answer to your question as well. Can we break up the content and create multiple modules on our own? Um, you could, yeah, copy and paste stuff to a new module if you wanted to. But again, let's maybe come back in a few months and that answer might be different. That's all I'm gonna say. I only have um Valerie, if you hit publish, it will give you the other options for the other things there too. Uh, yes, at least right now, each module needs to be developed as its own separate course. That is correct. So let me get back to my PowerPoint here real fast. So thank you all for being a great audience. I appreciate all the participation and all the questions there. So just kind of to wrap things up, I think Casey already put my email in the chat, but feel free to email me any questions that you have after this. If you wanted to see more an in-depth demo of MicroBuilder or have more questions about it, I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one to do that. There's also my LinkedIn profile there. If you'd like to connect there, I'm happy to do so as well. Our next session for Learn Lab Live is going to be October 28th. You'll kind of see these come at the end of the month here. Um, but the next one we're going to do is on another product that is very exciting and coming up is we have a beta coming out for our rehearsal product around AI roleplay. And so we dive in, doing a deep dive into that, probably seeing some stuff that we don't typically show people during that session. So feel free to come back to that one. I think you can register for it at this QR code and look at the previous recordings from last month's event about Category Quest. And oh, one last thing, I didn't put it up here, didn't get a chance to put up a form yet, but if there's ideas that you have of what you'd like to see in these future Learning Lab Lives, we do have them planned out already through the end of this year, but going into 2026, if there's specific things you'd like to see us focus on, feel free to send that feedback to me as well. I'm happy to hear it. Any ideas that you might have, because I know what things I want to focus on these products, but I really want to know what's really valuable to you as well as people that are attending these. So thank you all again for being such a great audience, and we hope to see you next month and in other future sessions for Learn Lab Live.